D, the host of the Ultimate Live Podcast. I'm just gonna put this. Oh, how many journalists killed in Gaza? Mm-hmm. Right. Uh, Russia Today, which is the Russian news media, is announcing that more than 140 journalists killed in Gaza since October 2023. And the source is Gaza Media Office. And then the Committee to Protect Journalists. 75% of journalists killed. Were in Gaza. So 75% of journalists killed in 2023 were killed in Gaza. And a leading Al Jazeera reporter killed by Israel in 2022. Do you guys remember that black journalist, that lady that was killed in Gaza and Israel denied it? So here I've gone Google. So the Gaza Media Office is saying more than 140 journalists have been killed. Here Google says, and this is where the problem is, that at least 97 journalists and media workers have been killed since October. 92 of them, of whom were Palestinian. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, Committee to Protect Journalists, this makes it the deadliest period for journalists since 1992, when the CPJ started collecting data. '97. Committee to Protect Journalists. All right, let's read what they say. This is a sad story. It's a sad, sad, sad story. Journalist casualties in the Israel-Gaza war. So editor's note, the list below is CPJ, that's the Committee to Protect Journalists. Most recent and preliminary account of journalist death in the war. Our database will not include all of these casualties until we have completed further investigation into the circumstances surrounding them. For more information, read our frequently asked question. Now, this is from cpg.org, this article. The Israeli-Gaza war has taken a severe toll on journalists since Hamas launched its unprecedented attack against Israel on October 7, and Israel declared war on the militant Palestinian group, launching strike on the blockaded Gaza Strip. CPG is investigating all reports of journalists and media workers killed, injured, or missing in the war, which has led to the deadliest period for journalists since CPG began gathering data in 1992. As of May 3rd, 2024, CPG preliminary investigation showed that at least, at least 97 journalists and media workers were among the more than 35,000 killed since the war began on October 7th, with more than 25,000 Palestinian deaths in Gaza and the West Bank and 1,200 deaths in Israel. The Israel Defense Force (IDF) told Reuters, an Agence France-Presse news agency, in October that it could not guarantee the safety of the journalists operating in the Gaza Strip after they had saw assurances that their journalists will not be targeted by Israel's strike, according to the Reuters report. Journalists in Gaza face particularly high risk as they try to cover the conflict during the Israeli ground assault, including devastating Israel, Israeli airstrike, disrupted communication supply shortage, and extensive power outage. As of May 3, 97 journalists and media workers were confirmed dead, 92 Palestinian, 2 Israeli, and 3 Lebanese. 16 journalists were reported injured, 4 journalists were reported missing. 25 journalists were reported arrested. Multiple assault threats, cyber attacks, censorship, and killing of family members. CPG is also investigating numerous unconfirmed reports of other journalists being killed, missing, detained, hurt, or threatened, and of damage to media offense uh, and journalist home. Since the Israel-Gaza war began, journalists have been paying the highest price with, with their lives to defend our right to the truth. Each time a journalist dies or is injured, we lose a fragment of that truth, said CPG Program Director Carlos Martinez de la Serna in New York. Journalists are civilians who are protected by international humanitarian law in times of conflict. Those responsible for their death face dual trial, one under international law and another before history or unforgiven case. The list published here includes names based on information obtained from the CPG source in the region and media report. It includes all journalists involved in news gathering activity. It is unclear whether all of these journalists were covering the conflict at the time of the death, but CPJ has included them in our account as we investigate the circumstances. The list is being updated on a regular basis. So journalists and media workers reported killed, missing, and injured. Killed. They have the list for the March 2024. March 15, March 14, March 5th. February. Damn. Guys, this is depressing. It's depressing. You have all the name of all the journalists here. Now, what is the difference between the numbers that you've got on the RT documentary or the RT element and this article here? The difference is that there are journalists who are working for social media or who have their own platform. They are not working for a massive corporation or they're not registered as journalists. This type of journalists exist everywhere in every country. So when this guy says 140, well, can't see anything wrong with that number. So unfortunately, he was killed before he got to do what he wanted in journalism. And the most horrific, heartbreaking part was that he thought he would survive. They say here, well, let's read the story of one. Wow. I need to read this story, but just give me 1 second first. So, here's the story of this one. 29th of January 2024, Mohammed Atala. Atala, 24-year-old Brazilian editor for a local Al Rizala news website and a writer for regional independent website Recife 22, was killed in an Israeli airstrike on Beach refugee camp in northern Gaza City, along with an unidentified number of family member, according to a tweet by Recife 22 that included his last voice message. The local news agency SAFA, the Palestinian Journalists Syndicate, and the International Federation of Journalists. Emir Rashid, a C22 political editor, told CPG that Atala wrote for Recife 22 under his name and another pseudonym. He was particularly interested in the daily stories of Gaza despite the siege on Gaza, the corruption, and the narrow political interest in the Strip. When the war started, we started collaborating and he wrote 3 pieces, but he lived in the north where there was intense bombing and one of the Israeli airstrike hit his parents' house, which killed one of his brother and all of his family members. Sheriff told CPJ that Atala evacuated after surviving a lot of near-death situations. In his last correspondence with us, he told me that he's safe and he wants to resume working soon, but I later learned about his death from the news. Sheriff Aden Mohammed was a very professional journalist. He wanted to relay the voice of the people. He worked hard on his piece and was very keen on factual reporting of daily life of Gaza people, despite all the challenges that a journalist like him faces. Unfortunately, he was killed before he got to do what he wanted in journalism, and most horrific, heartbreaking part was that he thought he would survive. So that's the story of one journalist. I mean, these stories are heartbreaking. These stories are really wow. This is this is sad. Now these stories are horrific, guys. War is not good. But Israel bears the responsibility for prolonging and making this barbaric war continue and eventually prolonging the suffering of the people of Gaza and the genocide. I put this on Israel. Next, we're going to talk about the ban of Al Jazeera in the Israel and the Gaza Strip by the Israeli Parliament. That is next on the agenda. The debate continues in the comments.